if I saw another day, only to scream into the night. Nothing ever tries to change, even if I want to realize. 'Cause I've been sitting here, same old ways, thinking of without the same mistake. Darling, where you going? It won't be as simple for you.
Yo, guys. We are back. I'm joined by Eddie. The United Forum is back for hopefully a good show. We're going to talk about the City sanctions, the European Super League, United Takeover. Before we get into it, if you are new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitch, We United X, on Twitter, at We United X as well. Smash that like button, etc. Please get involved. We've got a lot of meaty topics to talk about today. But I'm joined obviously with Eddie. Eddie, bro, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. There's a lot of football news that's been coming out, man. So it's just like it's good to come on your channel, try and chew some of the fat. Yeah, I'm doing okay, man.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me on.
No, awesome, Chief. Thank you for coming. Just a few people. Let me just quickly read some of the comments. So football, United says, big up Eddie, big up Red, big up Eddie. Thank you, United. Make sure you check out his channel as well. Football Power Hour says, let's go, liked and sub. Thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate it. But as a serious fan says, I have a feeling that United end up with Gonzalo Ramos, not Harry and Victor. Victor is the marquee sign that almost every major club wants at Chelsea and Bayern. And that's a fair point, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But, you know, we're going to be talking about United takeover, so obviously that is certainly something that might have a factor of United in the transfer market. Danny says, Barcelona and Messi owns your club. Remember that. Okay, and then Man City also owns you. Well, I'll say two things to that to this troll. I think the first thing I'll say is, number one, if you're so awesome, why in the Europa League? I mean, exactly. Can you kind of explain that? Like, Lionel Messi is no longer at Barcelona; he's at PSG. So there's that. And as far as Man City owns you, I don't deal with clubs that are currently under investigation for fraud. Okay, that's the first thing. And the second thing is worry UCL. Okay, we talk about UCLs on this channel, not Premier Leagues that were won with dodgy money. So I'll just put that to one side. Right, I see Chainsaw in the chat back as well, so it'd be good to bring Chainsaw in. So let's actually go to the first topic, actually. And I'll bring Chainsaw in. Chainsaw, man, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Good to see Eddie as well. Haven't spoken to him for some time. Hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, man. It's good to be on the show with you, man. It's going to be good to discuss some of this news, man. It's getting tasty, bro.
It is getting tasty. I would have put my cam on, but at the moment I'm in a bit of a rush. So
no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. Tom says UEFA said they won't strip any of Man City's Champions League. Yeah, I heard that as well, Tom. I did hear that. I heard that. I heard if you're a City fan, don't worry. Your Champions Leagues are safe. UEFA aren't going to stop them. And Fidan says, what is the European sequel about? Money. Well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about first things first, because obviously this week has been very, very busy with footballing news. Just all over the place. A lot of big news. And obviously the first thing, the beginning of this week, as you see in the picture, is City versus the Premier League. So obviously the Premier League, from what we know, have been investigating Manchester City secretly, it seems, for over the last 4 years now. Before, UEFA obviously took them to court regarding some financial irregularities. From what I understand, it has something to do with the revenue they generated. And issues regarding their sponsors, and there have been issues with that. So Manchester City battled UEFA. UEFA actually appealed to the Court of Arbitration, who basically said that the UEFA document were time displaced, so not time barred, or there wasn't sufficient evidence to proceed. Although they still fined Man City 12 million, I think it was, which is pocket change, but it was 12 million just for obscuring the investigation, basically, which is what the Premier League are claiming here. Now, in the Premier League's situation, they don't have the time bar situation. Man City can't obviously appeal to the Court of Arbitration, and it feels like this is going to be a long-running battle between did City were City's financial situation starts, especially regarding to the sponsors and their declaration of income regarding certain managers and players. Was that correct? Is my kind of overall summary of things. So, rather than getting bogged down in legal things, especially because we don't have a lot of time, maybe the best thing to talk about is what do people think will happen to City, or maybe more importantly, what do you think should happen to City? So I'll start with Eddie first.
There's just so many things going on in my mind because I've been like watching videos as well of people that have been doing research as well, and a big thing is like, are these charges going to really hold weight if we know the source is I think it was the Spiegel. They got hold of leaked emails, didn't they? So isn't there a question of whether that evidence was obtained legally? Because we know with the justice system, you have to do everything by a formal process, don't you? There's certain technicalities that can just throw your accusations out the window because of the way you've obtained them. So
I think why I would strike that down is that, like, yes and well, not really. I'll say yes and not really, because the information is now in the public domain. So even if something is obtained in court illegally or not through the right channels, the fact that it's now in the public domain means that it's accessible to the public. So even though City can say, oh well, the leaks were hacked, etc., it's like, well, okay, but the information now is in the public domain now. So now we've seen that potentially you committed something wrong, i.e. fraud. We now need to investigate it. And if you're innocent, there's no problem. But the reality is we've been investigating it for 4 years now, and we found that actually there are some concerns that brought up. So yeah, I don't think that City's argument that can be just, the way the information was got is sort of, okay, fine, we can accept that it wasn't got in the right way. But unfortunately, when information becomes into the public domain, it becomes like in the public interest.
Right, but is there not also a question of double jeopardy? Because we've seen that Man City already had to defend themselves with UEFA, and then they already had a punishment, didn't they, of the fine that you were just saying. So maybe that because we know City's got a lot of lawyers, they may try and find some kind of term in the law which says, okay, we've already been through this, we've already defended ourselves, we've already been punished. So maybe these charges coming out now may not hold weight because, like they're saying, they saw it coming. So they may have a lot of terms in their defense, in terms of their lawyers. They may have a lot of defense on what's going on because they've already been through this process, haven't they?
I think the only thing about this, and obviously a change so you can chip in, that has me a little bit like I don't know what City is doing, is that in the UEFA situation, the reason why they're able to get off the hook was because, one, most of the documents were time displaced, and two, lapsed, so they couldn't go back and investigate some claims further. And then two, CAS thought that the people didn't have sufficient evidence because they didn't have enough evidence to back up the claims. So it wasn't that, they found them innocent and they did nothing wrong and blah, 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 and it went through, and it was like insufficient evidence and we can't investigate further back. And even then, we still found them guilty of obstructing, obstructing things. Now, in the Premier League situation, they don't have the time bar situation. And the main thing for me is, if you are innocent, if there is no issue, then just provide the documents. That's it. That's all. Like, just provide the documents that UEFA, that Premier League, all they want to show that your financial irregularities are in order. Every club does it. Everton do it. United do it. But so there's no targeting. Every club has to do it. So why is it that you've decided to hide certain or make it difficult to access certain information unless you want to hide some information?
Exactly. And obviously, first thing I need to say, allegedly, is the key word with all of this. And because there's no time bar thing in place, there's also reports, allegedly, that someone from the inside has leaked information. So UEFA didn't have enough evidence, but it seems like there's someone inside that's leaked enough evidence for the Premier League to act. So the 100 charges, you can minus probably 20. I think some of them are like about grass and so forth.
Yeah.
But there's at least 50 minimum charges where they should be, well, I don't know if prosecuted is the right term, but punished at least by the Premier League, relegated, points deductions, stripped of titles, and they have to do it in a way that makes sense. So I don't know if you could go 10 years back and give United a title in 11-12. But
I wouldn't want a title like that, a second-hand title where you can't really celebrate.
I would love that. I would love that. You know,
really?
RDS, you're muted.
I would love to
it.
play a video of Aguero's clip with the Aguero, and then basically have like a Premier League title with red ribbons on it, being like,
you know what? RDS, you know, this is the one time where Liverpool and United fans can celebrate league titles each. We get free, so we can all celebrate, do a bus parade for both our teams. We both get free Premier Leagues each. Yeah, obviously, you guys will be one ahead, which is annoying.
It's so funny because like a lot of Liverpool fans on the TL before this news came were like, because obviously this news came literally right after Liverpool's 3-0 battering to Wolves, and there was Klopp out and there's Kloppless and stuff like that. But as soon as information came up and they're like, wait a minute, we might be able to get 2 new titles now, 2 new titles. Suddenly everyone's like forgotten about Klopp, forgotten about Liverpool. It's like, actually, if you now say that Klopp now has 3 titles, now then suddenly Klopp isn't that bad anymore.
He's the GOAT. If he gets
suddenly he's the greatest Liverpool manager ever. And suddenly, sure,
he's the best Premier League manager.
You know what? Yeah, I'll just say real quickly. I was gonna like be in favor of getting those titles on a technical level if it meant that we went ahead of Liverpool. But like Chainsaw was saying, they get 3 Premier Leagues as well. So it's like I don't want to see Liverpool get any more, and then we don't get any more than them. So it's like I just want it to be kept the same and leave it, man. I don't want to have titles where I know RDS was saying, okay, it'd be cool to see the memes of like, you know, Aguero's moment being taken away, but it's like it will feel like how Liverpool were winning their league during the COVID season. You can't really celebrate it. Like there's no.
I like the subtle shade.
Like that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but think about it. You get 16 league titles or 16 Premier League titles in total, and we only get 4 in total. So,
well, we're counting the whole thing, aren't we? That league, when it was Division 1, we're counting everything, aren't we?
Yeah. But you'll still be one ahead. It will still be the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, is it much difference? It still just be one ahead of you guys.
Well, Gerrard gets a Premier League, so I'm happy.
Nah,
that's all I care about.
We can't have that RDS.
No more Slippy G.
Oh, you're on mute again, RDS.
Yeah, RDS.
Let me quickly read some comments, and then we'll just think what do people think happened. So Bart says apparently he's hiring a lawyer that was part of Boris's group and paying him De Bruyne-like wages. Well, hiring Boris's lawyer is maybe not a good idea given what happened to Boris in the end. But we'll see what happens. If City are stripped of their titles, Liverpool would have 3 more, including 1 for Gerrard, and both Ollie and Jose would have won United's league. That is Ollie being a Premier League winner and Jose winning, and Jose winning. That's interesting. We'll go to that actually.
Ollie would be so shameless in celebrating that.
Oh yeah, he'd be like, listen. He's
on his own parade by himself.
Like I'm a United legend now, you know, and Jose. If thinking Ollie would be shameless, Jose Mourinho would be like respect. Jose would go mad, man. Guardiola, of course, knows about the dealings. His brother's on the panel Liga Football Club joined, and both of them own a percent of that club. Interesting. Big up Matthew in the chat. Evening all. Hope you're doing well. I want to get you back on the channel as well, Matt. It's been a while. Yeah, I know you came on once before, so but if you're listening, man, send me a DM. I want to have you back on. Big up everyone on the show and in the chat. One of the major red flags in the city is hyperinflating sponsorship deals during the early part. Yeah, exactly. Because I still, for the life of me, don't understand how you can claim that you're making near to the same amount of money that United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barca have without the fan base, where the majority of your sponsorship deals happen to be in one place, and you feel like, and I don't know, there's just something sketchy about that. There's no reason why, even now, how many years later, in terms of the generation of revenue, I'm not saying that City isn't in a financially better place, because a lot of these big clubs have been outspending, so they might be more debt. But in terms of the actual revenue that you're actually generating, I just can't see how we're now saying that in the last 2 years, Manchester City are the highest generating football club in the world.
Yes, another thing. I'm reading the comments, and I've read Matthew's comment, and it took 4 years, or it's going to take 4 more years, and so forth.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because the white paper thing was coming up with the government or regulation, the Premier League's acting so they don't have this regulation force coming in.
Yeah.
So my opinion is they've already got a few years already investigating Man City, right? They will have to act, at least make an example of City, so the white paper thingy doesn't come into place to say, oh, we could take care of our own business without a third party intervening. So I don't understand why people think nothing's going to happen, or they're just going to get a fine or a few points deducted. I think a serious punishment will happen to City, but we need to know what that serious punishment would be. Would it be relegation? Would it be, I don't know, stripping of titles, or non-avoiding the seasons that they won stuff? Like, there has to be something massive that the Premier League needs to do.
I mean, it seems like it would depend on how many of those charges will be actually, like correct, doesn't it? Really? Because
guys, sorry, one second. Let me just do this guy, Danny, who loves this. This is Danny. Why Manchester City? Okay, first one was you're watching although I talk about other teams, you are watching a United fans channel. That's the first thing. So I don't know why. So I don't know why you're watching if that's the first thing. The second thing of this, the 6-1 still hurts. I'm get Pep owns Fergie. Like, I'm like, okay.
Nah, Danny's petty, man.
Like Pep owns Fergie. So are you telling me that? So since then, just out of curiosity, Danny, since then, given that he had arguably the best player, i.e. the GOAT in his team, has Pep won a Champions League? I just answer the question, Danny. Since that time in 2012, like was it 12, 13 years ago? Because you love the past so much. Has he won anything? And has he won a Champions League in that time?
Yeah, yes, I think Danny may have to come on and defend his team, man.
No, it's weird. It's weird. It's just weird because the teams to talk about his teams, like, and it's like you haven't won a Champions League. Instead, you're getting bantering by Leon. Leon owns your club, by the way. Leon owns. I can ever list a lot of Champions League winning clubs that are bigger than City because they didn't have to rely on cash from states and sponsors. So anyway, sorry, that's going on.
Can I just go back to what Chainsaw was saying, because he was talking about like the degree of punishment. Yeah, I was just making a point that it depends on how many charges are actually are actually go through. So in terms of like it's 100 charges, yes. Let's say they're found guilty of like 50. That would be serious, wouldn't it? They would have to really get obviously more than the fine, relegation, and all that.
It would be
they're found guilty of like maybe 2 charges. Maybe it would be like a fine or maybe a few points deduction. I think it depends on how many charges they are found guilty of.
But you also need to realize who leaked this information. The Premier League itself did. So if they've got 100 charges, right, they have to be confident that majority of them they could charge and make an example of City, or else they would have put this under the bud and say, it's a fine. These aren't serious charges, or make no comment of the charges. But because this is in the media limelight and there's 100 charges, there has to be some groundwork done before this is released, and the timing of it is suspicious as well. So you have to like put it all together, and they must have at least minimum of 50 that they're confident of charging City with. And 50% is, I mean, that's enough for them to be relegated, in my opinion, or at least a severe punishment. And even if it's 20 out of the 100, they still have to be like set an example. Depends how serious the 20 are.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. Let me quickly read some more comments and let me know your thoughts in the comments about what's happening City. Obviously, we have thoughts from some City fans, but let me know what do you think should happen to Manchester City? What do you think should happen? Let's have a look. Findon says you cannot seriously believe they did nothing wrong and proved it to UEFA. They didn't. They were cleared by CAS for the time limit. This is what I said on those charges, which is not the case now. Exactly. That's what I mentioned. Solo says, shout out to Solo, then Oli would have a title, and I can just imagine Jose in City right now wants. Oh yeah. Jose will be like, that's. In fact, Jose probably has already said, I already have a title. I already won that.
I would put asterisk to the United titles other than 11-12 because you guys didn't lose the title by 1 point like we did, or 2 points in 13-14. So our gaps of titles, we were literally 2 points or 1 point in 2 occasions away from winning the title. You guys were like 19 points or 15 points away. So I don't know if you guys deserve all 3 Premier League titles.
But Chainsaw, talking about points, how many points are Liverpool away from United right now?
Oh, hold on. No. Now I'm going to get serious with this, right?
Okay.
Now I'm going to my own investigation into this. Okay. So the investigation started 4 years ago, or roughly 4 years ago, right? Just recently, right? And who's the team out of us two that recently lost by 1 point twice the league title? It was us. Okay, so they should time bar the last 5 years and say, okay, only Liverpool deserve their 2 league titles, and if there's a certain point gap more than 15, then you don't deserve your league title. So I think minimum we deserve 2 league titles minimum.
Chainsaw is tricky.
But the problem is, Chainsaw is like, what if? Okay, I get your point, but then what? How do you explain losing to Madrid in 2 finals?
What? Okay, you know what? I'm clipping this. We're being Madrid. We're being Madrid. Nunes Hattie coming up.
When is it coming up?
On a serious note, we got Jota, Firmino, Van Dijk all coming back. We're going to beat Madrid.
What? Why does? I mean, to be fair, I actually can't call the 2 games. I know it's a side, so we need to move on to the Super League, but I actually can't call Liverpool, Madrid, or Bayern, PSG because Madrid are playing badly and Liverpool are playing badly.
We're playing badly. But we've got injuries coming.
PSG Liverpool are awful. I mean, how can you have Nunes 16 big chances missed? I think it's more.
But the thing is, Madrid are bad, and Madrid have tons of injuries as well. No Courtois, no Benzema, no.
But we got players coming back. We're different.
So they've got a lot of. So yeah, I can't. And PSG, Madrid, no Messi, no Mbappe.
Messi's back.
No, apparently he's injured.
I heard this morning he's coming back for Bayern.
Maybe. Okay. So definitely Mbappe anyway, but we'll see. But anyway, let me just quickly go on. Then we want to talk about, speaking of Champions League, the Super League. Where are we? I've heard it's taking Samasi about. I'll bring in a second, Samasi. I've heard it's going to take 4 years to fully investigate Man City. They won't be stripped of. Yeah, exactly. They won't. If City are stripped of the titles, would Spurs win the league? If City are stripped of the titles, would Spurs win the league cup? Would Spurs win? If City are stripped of it, would Spurs win the league cup that Joseph Sachs after the ESL announcement? That would be funny. Yes, the one that's that would be funny. United Joke Club. Well, Danny. Well, that's your opinion, but at least my club is run properly. And I'm saying that loosely because we hate the Glazers. So there you go.
Yeah, Danny's got no point there when we're not being investigated like this by UEFA and the Premier League. You guys are in the mud. You guys are a joke right now.
And despite, but the thing is, Eddie, why don't get with City fans like it's like despite all the money, all the investment, and stuff like that, they don't have a Champions League, Eddie. They don't have a Champions League, and they haven't yet defended their title 3 times. I just don't get it. They're like, we won the Premier League. Yeah, okay, we've got 20. We got 20. The point is you're supposed to catch up to us, not the other way around. Anyway, I just want to know how they make more money in United Madrid when they can't sell out their stadium. And if you look at shirt sales, United still sells 3 times more. I don't know. it's apparently they get more sponsorship, but I'm like, how? Because the whole point of sponsorship is that it's access to fans. So, but obviously the sponsorship is coming from one particular place. You know, like all I can think is that like basically City called some uncles back home. I'm like, guys, can you get involved? Can you help us out? You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Let us know.
Did you hear that story of like apparently that the sponsor on Twitter had like maybe just 13 followers as well? Like there's no real what do you call it, commercial revenue in terms of having fans follow them as well. It's like it's all this money coming out of nowhere, like it's magic. So yeah, something's going on.
Not to defend the city owners, but they have kind of rejuvenated the area of where the city, the stadium is and stuff. So they've done some positives, I guess, but you know, just to give a balanced opinion on
Let me just quickly bring in, because we need to move on, because I've got to be heading to work soon. But Samasi, thanks for joining us. What are your thoughts on this whole city debate?
As I knew they were I knew it, because if you look at the revenue, they have more revenue than Bayern Munich. Yeah, that Barca and Man United. You can't. If you're just like 10 years in the running, let's face it, you can't have as much revenue as the big, let's face it, 4 clubs in the world. So I knew there was some shady fingers going, but I really didn't care. But what's annoying is the problem was they and Chelsea and everyone else inflated the market. That's
Yo, Samasi, you there?
Samasi, you there?
Oh, well, you know what? While she stops, you know what I'll say? Bayern Munich need to be investigated as well. They bullied the German league, and they need to be punished as well, relegated as well. So let's be real. And the second thing is,
50 plus.
And second thing is,
we have a 50+1 rule. We own our clubs.
No, you deserve to be relegated as well.
Bayern Munich.
No, but why the chainsaw? What was illegal about?
I don't know why Chainsaw hates Bayern so much.
Listen, no,
I don't know why.
How dare Samasi not put Liverpool in the top 4 clubs? We're at least above Bayern Munich. I mean, it's Real Madrid, then Barca, then Liverpool, and then maybe United. That's the top 4 clubs.
Maybe United, man. We've been
maybe
we're the best Premier League team.
I might put Bayern ahead of you guys, but you know, like respect Liverpool first of all, and second thing is you're literally Man City of the German league, in my opinion. So if Man City get punished, I want Bayern punished. I want PSG punished. I want Juventus punished. I want Barcelona punished, and maybe on the side, maybe United, because
why are Bayern catching strays? What did we do?
Well, now that we're directing our attention to European clubs, let's actually switch our attention to the actual European Super League, guys, because this was the other second piece of big news coming out of nowhere, where apparently it's back. The format has changed. Obviously, beforehand, a lot of people, it was closed, only 20 clubs, etc. Now, 80 clubs over 4 divisions. It's open. It's an open shop. It's supposed to be in competition with the Champions League. So I guess we bring it up because I already shared my thoughts about this on Half Hope's channel. I'm curious to see what other people think. With this new revamped Super League, because it does address a lot of the issues that fans had, do you think that this will or should go ahead? And what does this mean football going forward? So I'll start with Eddie and then Chainsaw and then after Sebastian.
It's such a convoluted situation to talk about because, first of all, you look at like UEFA, people are talking about whether they should have the right to have the monopoly over these teams, like whether they should just be the one ruling authority. Super League wants to come in and challenge, what they're doing. I'm just a little bit worried about whether these teams can really stretch themselves to even play the extra 14 minimum games that they're saying, because we've seen that people are getting injuries, squads are being stretched, so maybe we'll see something like extra subs being used. We've already seen extra subs being introduced. Maybe it's maybe more subs. So teams can fulfill this kind of competition. But I've just got to come to like the money situation as well. Yeah, we see the prize money for certain UEFA competitions, right? And even the FA, they don't seem to pay that much if you look at what teams spend on players. So, for instance, we've seen like teams spend money like 100 million on Lukaku at Chelsea, Man United 80 million on Maguire, things like that. And then the prize money for the Premier League is like 44 million. Prize money for Champions League 73 million. I remember when the Super League was first introduced, they said that the prize money would be 389 million. Yeah. So I'm looking at it from these teams' point of view. If I'm a board member and I'm spending loads of money on, let's take Chainsaw's flop for instance, 100 million. Yeah. Let's say he might even come good. I would love to get 389 million for revenue to win a cup when I'm spending 100 million on the likes of Nunez. So this could be a good, especially if they're expanding the competition to more teams, because we're seeing that they've made it more about, it's not just closed off now. So there may be more of a meritocracy where teams can earn their way into the Super League. So this could be a good competition, as long as you can fit it into the calendar with the current competitions.
Chainsaw, what do you think? What do you think, Chainsaw?
I heard something about Nunes. Eddie, relax yourself. Relax yourself, big man.
Move. We've got to move.
Okay.
Come back.
Yeah. For some reason, Bruno Fernandes has more goals than Nunes this season. It's weird. But anyway, so go on.
We'll discuss that on another stream.
Another time.
But regarding this, I think it almost makes sense to replace the Champions League for the Super League, and it's not run by UEFA, because UEFA is already making it into a league format. So I think Super League would work, but it doesn't need to be like, what is it, 50 teams or 80 teams? I don't know how many teams it is, and 3 different league divisions. I think it should just be like, basically you qualify from your domestic leagues into the Super League, and it basically like the Champions League, but just the league format, but it's owned by the clubs rather than UEFA. So I do like that concept in principle, but I just think executing it would be just copy the Champions League format, but make it non-UEFA controlled. I think that would be the way forward.
Okay. Samasi, what do you think about this whole Super League concept?
I think the new Super League with the concept it's actually quite good. It's more transparent with the more transparent than UEFA Champions League, so that's good. And I think it would be more equal around the National League with the money. That's also good, but I really don't care if it happens. If not, because Bayern really don't need the Super League. I don't think so.
Okay.
So, but UEFA are cheats. Let's face it. 37 million for the winner. Do you know what the winner of the Premier League makes? Around 189. And the Champions League makes 73. Make it at least 100. These absolute cheats.
That's the point I was making. These organizations don't seem to pay enough. I mean, that's why we see the Super Leagues possibly coming in, because a lot of teams are not, around Europe, they're not making enough, are they, to really sustain their club? So I can see why, because it's a business, isn't it? I know it's a sport as well, but it's a business at the end of the day. They want to see more return. I can understand that.
J2S, thanks for joining us, buddy, man. J2S, what are your thoughts on this whole Super League, the bagel?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, because people assume, it's a Super League, so it's just going to be the elite, but it's also going to absorb the Champions League, the Europa, and the Conference League. So even the smaller teams will come in, because there's meant to be like multiple divisions. So I see it as like the money will trickle down. Like obviously the likes of Barcelona, Man United, Real Madrid, they're going to get the headlines because they're the bigger teams, the more established teams in Europe. likes of Valencias, the Benficas, they'll still be there and they'll still get their fair share because the money will trickle down more fairly than UEFA. Because how have Real Madrid won so many Champions Leagues, but they're unable to keep the likes of Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth? We've just seen, I can't remember the Italian player. He's at Roma. He was getting AC Milan were losing to Bournemouth over the transfer.
Yes, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, how does it make any sense? Like, I understand, like in the 90s, Serie A was at its peak. La Liga 2000s was at its peak, but we never saw such large disparity where relegation teams in certain leagues would dominate financially over the top dogs in the Premier League. We never saw the likes of, let's say, like Girona out battling Man United for a transfer. That never happened.
No.
But seeing it now with the likes of the lower teams in the Premier League, because I think Deloitte, 11 of the 20 top revenues generated are Premier League clubs. You got West Ham making as much revenue as Inter Milan, which is ridiculous.
That's mad.
Yeah. So this version of the European Super League is way better than the previous one because that was a closed system, and it's just the big clubs just want it for generating the money. Likes of Juventus needed the money at the time because we've seen what's happened to them now as well. So yeah.
Fair enough. So I'm also Smashy, have you talked about this yet? You have talked about this.
Yeah, she mentioned it.
Yes, she has. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let me just quickly read some comments, and then we'll move on.
Yes,
So
I did.
I know I'm forwarding this on just because I've got work to go to later. So yeah, we'll probably talk about United Takeover. So let me just read something that I was highlighting before. So back for City, Mo says City are good, but part of me also believes some of these FFPs need to be meant to allow small teams to compete if they have the money, which I think is fair enough. I think my City's finished tagline might have got some City fans triggered. He says, City ain't finished, you rags. Says Lake. Shout out to you, Lake, man. Shout out to you, shout out to you, bro. All I say, and I say to every City fan that comes on, is this.
City fans are really like
Why
they
are you
go on
CR,
rants.
Why are you
Like
CR, man?
they think they're really innocent. And Pep Guardiola has interview today, press conference today was hilarious. Dude is losing his head.
Yeah, I've not watched it. I've not watched, but apparently, yeah, it was
Yeah,
quite.
he's losing the plot now.
He's losing the plot now. He's like I mean, maybe this was I still my theory still is Arteta was the leak. That's still my theory. My theory is still Arteta was the leak. I think Arteta was like, listen, this is the closest Arsenal have been, and at the end of the day, Pep said his loyalty is to Arsenal. So personally, for me, I think Arteta's probably the leak. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, I just gotta say real quick. Yeah, I do really respect Pep. Yeah, but if he's gonna lose this season to his student, right? He's the master, and his student's gonna be in his first job and win a league by this much of a points gap. Because I don't think Pep's team's gonna focus after all of this going on. I mean, he was in the press conference saying he's got people focused on the team to play, but we've seen how they're playing. Even before the allegations came out, they weren't playing good, were they? Before, and then this has come out on top. We know everyone's human. Psychologically, I think City will finish the season. So, City fans in the comments, man, keep moaning, keep saying your little digs at Man United, but
I'm
you
just
guys
gonna
finish for now.
Yeah, Ten Hag is also Pep's student. Yes, you're right.
I'm just gonna say this: Leipzig has just one job to do. That's all.
Samasi, if Leipzig, okay, I'll say this right now, and as a warning to Manchester City and PSG. If I don't see both of you in the next round of the Champions League, don't talk to anyone. Okay, City fans, PSG fans, don't talk to anyone. I don't want you guys to show your face at least for another year. Okay, if that happens, okay, not of the billions you spent to try and win this competition. Don't you dare get knocked out of the round of 16 this season. Okay, that's just said. So Malone says, honestly, look at the atmosphere in preseason, whether it's United or Liverpool, biggest fan base. The crowd fans don't know the culture of home support. No single passion, just cameras. Well, I think that, and I'll give my brief thoughts for the Super League here, is that I think that no opinion is wrong. And for me, it's traditionalism versus people who aren't, non-traditionalist people. Because, football at some point has to evolve. It has to change. It certainly can't go in the way it has because we're heading towards a financial crisis. Because as people have already said, it's almost looking like in order for you to survive as a Premier League club, you have to survive. You have to be sponsored by. It was a multi-millionaire. Then it became a billionaire, and now we're talking about states. And if you can't compete with a state, what can you do? You know, so the amount of money being spent, it can't continue like that. Conversely, how we play, how we look at football, like for younger generations, etc., etc., there always has to be some element of innovation, and I think that when UEFA and FIFA have so much of a monopoly over football and how they present football, and they can change football to what they do, like I think that kills that. Like even the new reformatted Champions League that they're going to be doing from, I think it's 2024. I think so. Basically from next year, next September, let's say, or next August, whatever. Like it's terrible. It's a terrible form. They're actually making their own Super League. They're going to a league format.
Yes.
Yes.
On top of that,
how many games can you play?
It's not even that. UEFA's changed the Champions League in the 90s, I think it was. I don't know if you guys were around then, but so they changed the format before, and they're changing the format again. So people have gone through it in different generations, and it constantly changes. It's UEFA, it's FIFA. These organizations keep changing what we already love or enjoy. So if they have the power to do that, then surely the biggest brands such as Madrid, Barca, Juventus, Liverpool, United, etc., if they all came together and made their own format and kicked out this organization that's taking the club's money, the people's money, the fans' money, right, and make their own set of rules and their own set of formats, then it's a win-win for everyone, for a true football fan, rather than having this unknown organization making the rules and making the changes whenever they see fit, whenever they see more profit. So in reality, traditionalists should be going towards the clubs rather than this unknown organization that's been dominating European football.
Yeah, I just got to say, we've got to just see a balance between the players being looked after and teams getting a good revenue, because obviously we don't want to see a burnout in the teams. I mean, we've just had the World Cup, right? And it was probably one of the best World Cups I've seen, despite the issue of, like I said, burnout and things going on. Premier League resumed. We've seen that there's still quite a bit of quality going on, apart from obviously City and especially Liverpool, Chainsaw. But we have to see that these players are looked after and not treated like robots, like they can just play all of these competitions and just be like earning money regardless. Because, we don't just want to see like maybe eventually there's so many injuries that there's like just academy players playing. You know what I mean? The quality of the product will go down. So we're gonna have to obviously wait for the European courts to rule on the legality and see who's really got the authority. But if it can be balanced out, then I would like to see a balance between UEFA competition and the Super League, and just maybe trial it for a season, see how it goes. Because you don't have to keep it going if it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, then get rid of it.
Okay. Let me quickly read some comments, and we have to move. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time left. Dale says, personally, I love the idea. For me, seeing the threats from FAs, FIFA, UEFA is what makes me a fan. Challenging the monopoly and establishment. Exactly. That's what my point, Dale. Shout out to Minds on Twitch, who's a Twitch subscriber. And if I am on Twitch, so for those who want to follow me on Twitch, links is in the description. I try and do watch longs on Twitch amongst other things. So shout out to Minds. Says, can we talk international later in this international football? I know you're a fan of international football, bro. Like, in fact, I think the international break will be coming up soon, so we'll probably will be talking international football when the international break comes up. But thanks for today, unfortunately. I think Chainsaw will appreciate this. Bart says, I feel that Liverpool are the true kings of football in England, as we gave United Busby and have won more UCLs than any other British club. Chainsaw, do you have anything to say about Bart's comment?
This is what you call speaking facts on top of facts on top of facts.
This is bullshit.
I not. What did you just say?
It's bullshit.
Well, let me not get into Bayern Munich. I'll do a whole rant on Bayern Munich and expose them completely. But you know, this Bart guy,
For
you know, I
what?
like this guy.
For what?
I love this guy. Big this guy up.
Okay, big Bart, become a member. There you go. Become a member, Bart. Become a member.
There's a reason.
Go on.
There's a reason why Busby came to the real team, okay, and proponed us to being one of the best Premiership teams. Okay, there's a reason why Busby left. You guys.
The organizer is that Sheikh Ball bin Ten Hag?
If he has to.
The organizer says, is that Sheikh Bald bin Hag at the bottom left? Well, speaking of which, there's a good transition actually. And I'll go to J2S, the United takeover, final topic. It looks like it's getting real. Now, there were talks about obviously Liverpool being taken over. I don't know if that's still happening from Qatar, who knows?
It is happening.
Hopefully it is. It's just that United in a situation where we're seeing that real auctional talks with the deadline apparently being set for, I think it's next week, for bids to actually come in. So we're going to actually next week, hopefully, I'll probably do a show on, I don't know when, I think it's someone but I'll be doing a show tomorrow where we'll have an open discussion about who should take over United. And the deadline for bids to be submitted is basically next week. Now, all we know so far from the people who've made their bids public are Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who's a United fan, local lad, billionaire. He owns Nice. He seems to be getting some backing from JP Morgan, and he wants to obviously go and try and buy the club. And obviously, too, what we're also hearing is that there's an interest from a Qatari group who also want to get involved in taking Manchester United, especially presumably after the success of the World Cup. They want to now get involved in maybe Premier League football, or this Qatari group. Now, I think there are others involved as well. There's probably a few American consortiums, etc. So it's not. I don't think it's just these two. Some people may be keeping their bids a little bit private. Like I don't think, for example, Todd Bowley. We knew really about Todd Bowley when the whole bidding process happened until quite late. I think so. I still think, despite what people are saying, that the Glazers are likely to sell to some weird American consortium. But I just want to see what people, obviously I'll go to J2S and then Eddie, the United Fans First and so on. What do you feel about this consortium discussion?
Yeah, I think the deadline's meant to be next Friday, the 17th. And it's a short list of 5, I believe, like the best 5 or like the top 5. That'll be, Brain Group will discuss it and then they'll pass it on to the Glazers and the Glazers will discuss it with each separate consortium. Obviously, the Glazers are going to want to make as much money as possible. So whoever puts down the highest bid is most likely going to get the club. Because you know how the Glazers roll. If they see money, they'll just light up and they'll run away with it. Because practically spent nothing on the club, leveraged the debt onto us, and then they're going to run away with £5-6 billion pounds, which is probably one of the biggest robberies in football, I'd say.
Yes, absolutely, yes. So yes, Eddie, what are your thoughts on this takeover business?
I mean, I've been hearing different things. Obviously, some things may be rumors and all of that kind of stuff. But I heard that the Glazers, they're thinking like they may not even make like a complete sale. They may just sell that majority stake, right? I heard that kind of thing going on, and especially like if the Super League goes ahead. And we saw that what was it? Joe Glazer was one of the chairmen. Was going to be one of the chairmen. Yeah, he would want to stay on and get some of that money. So I'm hoping that that's not going to happen. But in terms of my point of view on like who I want to like take over, obviously it would be the likes of Mr. Ratcliffe, because we know he's a football fan and obviously supports Man United as well. He tried to take over Chelsea. So we know that this guy, he would know the culture of the game. I want to have someone come in that knows the culture. Maybe he might not have as much money as the Qataris would have, but he would have that more of that mentality to get obviously back Ten Hag, make sure he has a proper director of football. Like I think someone like Jim Ratcliffe that knows about football would change up this board. He would make sure that someone's probably going to come in for the likes of John Murtough that actually has like a proper legacy and getting good players to a top team. That's what we want to see at the end of the day, is players coming for good money and help the team increase the skill of the team, all this kind of thing. So I'm hoping Ratcliffe can get with his with the consortium that's backing him and take over. Yeah, that's my view on that.
Cool. Just the other, so Chainsaw. What are your thoughts?
If with your owners, if you get Qatari owners, and let's say we get our Qatari owners, I think that'll be really good for the rivalry between the two.
I don't think that will happen, but sorry, go on. There won't be two people in the Premier League, two Qatari owners. I mean, that'll be a bit more suspicious. So they've got to decide which club is the bigger club to invest in.
Oh, well, I heard there's two entities in Qatar.
Mm-hmm.
There's one, I think QIA, and then there's another one, and the other one's going for United, and one's going for Liverpool.
Okay.
But
QIA or QSA.
Yes. Is there any reports from like Sky or any sort of people that say that Liverpool are in the process of being bid for takeover?
From my sources would be from YouTube, from Liverpool fans directly. Trust my sources. But as long as we get new owners, I'm happy. It doesn't matter where they're from.
Okay.
But I would like to see United get competitive owners alongside us, so then we could both see a fair battle to get the best players, and then the competition between United and Liverpool for the title. Maybe Arsenal mixed in between there as well. I think that would be the best for the Premier League as a brand and for us as rival fans.
Actually, real quick, do you think that these new owners would keep Klopp, especially with what we're seeing with this failed rebuild?
I'm Klopp out, so
Klopp, Klopp. If Qataris owners come, Klopp will leave Liverpool.
I hope so. I think
comments.
Thomas Tuchel train. I'm on that train right now. But
I mean, to be fair, Chainsaw was Klopp out before it got trendy. So I will give him that. He did, and people were calling him crazy. And then Liverpool are where they are now. So
now Klopp out exists. But I just want competitive owners for both our clubs. I think it would be best for the Premier League, and it would be very entertaining if next season or the next two seasons.
What do you say to this comment by Judy Sports?
I don't read The Athletic, so
they're quite a reliable source than YouTube.
Chainsaw.
I have the streets.
Sorry, Chainsaw. I was just going to say, don't you think Steven Gerrard would be better than a Tuchel? Because Tuchel,
no, Gerrard can't manage.
Steven Gerrard knows the culture, the passion, all that stuff.
No, he'll be like Frank Lampard if he comes to us. He'll be sacked within 6 months. He's not of that level. So we need a Tuchel.
Sorry, guys. Got to continue because I've got to head off. But Samasi, can you just give your thoughts on potential takeover?
I think for Man United, they don't need actually a Qatari owner because their revenue is so high. You need just an owner who invests in the training ground and a new
stadium.
What's called stadium. That's it. If Man United get a training ground in the stadium on a better board with the right people, like if the new owner gets Michael Edwards as director of recruitment and director of sport, Ralph Rangnick, United can dominate the Liga for a decade. So really, you really don't need the Qatari owners because you make so much money. So I would go for Jim Ratcliffe because we never know when the Qataris want to leave want to sell the club. Like someone like Jim Ratcliffe, he really doesn't want to do that. So
I don't want to intervene, but United's revenues has been decreasing in the last 5 years. They were top two. Now they're in like top 5, top 6. So remember, their fan base is getting smaller. It's United aren't as big as you think
It's
they
not
are.
really. It's not so much smaller. It's more just the lack of Champions League evolving and football.
Look at the numbers.
Performance related. That's performance related.
Yeah. No, your brand's been damaged.
Yeah, Chainsaw's been damaged. If you look at what Ten Hag's doing now, we're going to get fans coming back on side, Chainsaw. Come on, man. You see what we're doing already.
We're going to expose you at Anfield anyway. So,
Chainsaw, after that last embarrassing season, you see what we're doing. We're almost got the title race, We're getting fans back on side. We're going to be earning more fans' respect again. They're going to be buying up all the shirts, especially after the Glazers go. So we're going to be back in front of you guys. Don't worry.
RDS Sports and Gerald PL winner picks. Interesting. That's what I was saying. Michael Oates is a boyhood poor fan. He will not come to United. United should go for Stuart Webber and Edward van der Sar. I would go through tons of all these comments, but I've got to bounce because I've got work coming up. But we are going to come back to this topic, United Takeover topic, next week when the bids fully come in and when it starts to get heated. And when we actually have an idea of the candidates and people involved, we will come back and talk about this further. Because I'm genuinely curious to see who you guys think or who you want to take Manchester United. United are playing on Sunday, aren't they, Eddie? If I recall.
Yeah.
So I will be doing another Leeds United preview tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, guys. But guys, just quickly, just for the final thought, just literally one thing. Or go around. Will United beat Leeds on Sunday? Yes or no? And then we end. Same thing in the comments.
Yes.
Eddie?
We got to, man. Come on, we got to.
Chainsaw.
2-2.
Draw. Okay. Samasi. Samasi, you there? Okay, I'm gonna say Samasi said a win. Okay, and J2S.
2-1. Sorry, 2-1.
No, you're right.
Man United.
Yeah, 2-1 United.
2-1 United. Cool. Okay, thanks. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks everyone on the panel. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Make sure you check out Eddie's channel as well. Eddie, just plug your channel for you and your channel, and then Chains as well, please.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. Eddie's Football Waffle on YouTube. I do like little bits of reactions to Man United and other football teams too. Yeah, thank you.
And I have obviously Chainsaw, DH, and other channels. I stream on my other second channel, but it's just just random.
Cool, guys. Right. Have a nice day, everyone. And cheers. Peace.
Bye.
Peace.